Hey, it is another gorgeous day, another beautiful day. And I mean, let me show you. That damn fog. It's not pollution, it's not fog, it's awful. It seems to be always there. That's that film. Can you see the sun? It's supposed to be the new normal. See, like on the horizon, you see that gray shit, that white shit. Yeah, it's supposed to be the new normal. I will never get used to that. I still like old school, when the skies used to be blue. But anyway, I went to the city and I got like homemade kind of like stuff, organic, overpriced shit. But it is good. So like the whites are putting their business everywhere out there, like they got their own websites, their own everything, but they're still on Twitter. And I'm following this account and it's like you just do not give a damn. So they're giving some tips. Apparently this is some radio show. I don't know where, but and the guy is supposed to be white, but he don't look white. But nothing new there, right? It's white privilege, right? It's like you see them like, I can see you ain't white, but they have this special function, I guess. I don't know. So it's giving advice because some radio caller is like whining about the Indians and how awful they are. They copy our tactics. They're taking our white privilege away.
Important, but I don't think so. I think that's just the trick they use to get people like you killed since forever. And yeah, as far as the intel thing goes, we're living in a gay racial nepotism kleptocracy. The incentives are so out of whack that really my best recommendation for you would be look for ways to steal. You got to just figure out how to steal, bro. File a sexual harassment lawsuit. I don't know. They're going to be paying a lot of lip service to fairness and meritocracy as they replace people like you with Indians over the next 10 years. And just remember, as they do that, you should steal and file sexual harassment lawsuits. It's not a nice thing. It's not nice to encourage people to steal. That's not how society should work. You don't believe in a low-trust society? It's too bad you're in one. There's no route towards restoring a high-trust society in America, in my opinion. If there is, that's good. That's a great thing. That would be wonderful. I would love that. That would be amazing. But once a company has been infiltrated by DEI types and by Indians are up there with the most racially nepotistic people. They only have one. The competition is slim up there. I think you know. If I say it in German, is that code? They're not going to know. They're up there in the nation.
Hey, Sam. One thing I hoped for with Elon was that the one thing he could...
And then we have Nation of Victims, which is all about how you and I, because we had sleepovers and fun childhoods, and our moms didn't make us play violin, how we should be replaced by Indians. That's...
You don't say. You don't say. You know what I've been saying. White privilege fucked you up. It got you all manicured. From the Braveheart, that movie with Mel Gibson. That's what he's longing for. To have them, to have the whites not to worry about their nails, not to worry about their hair. Remember the tiki torches and the khaki pants? That Spencer guy, whatever happened to that Spencer guy? Did they just friendly fire him? I mean,
It's the last chapter this book is about. But some of this stuff is pretty spicy, man. Let me open this up here. Right here, yeah. I'll never forget when I was in middle school. I can't even read that on camera. It was when I turned 33 that I realized I was addicted to making men gay like B. Diddy. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but this Vivek, these books, this is so...
oh my God. I haven't heard that part. I'm like, how many men fall for it? You know, that's how, you know, like gay rape, men are not for that. They go crazy. But it is the women who like, oh my God, you're saying I got raped or whatever. Yeah, sure you did. Sure you did. I don't even know who this one is, but I think ain't Max Blumenthal supposed to be one of the good whites, and they're talking about Tucker Carlson and the Blumenthal's or whatever, like whatever, and that they got this witch hunt, and I don't even know who this is, so I don't know nobody over here. I just like at the end, this African American young man, he going like, oh my God, you know, Tucker Carlson, I thought he was, you know, a decent slave master.
I find out later, Tucker Carlson is working with Max Blumenthal, Cindy Blumenthal's son, Cindy Blumenthal, Bill Clinton Hatchet Man, on this hit piece, which again, 10,000 words, 3 parts. They're trying to attack my valor. And then the next day, a campaign goes up on this app called Influenceable. You ever hear of this?
No.
Influenceable is this new app where they pay influencers, conservative influencers under the table to promote these campaigns. So if like some influencer wants, you know, Elijah Schaefer and Bryson Gray and these guys to promote something, they'll go through Influenceable. It's like a medium to pay creators to do advertising campaigns.
Okay.
A buddy of mine sends me one of the campaigns from Influenceable that got put up. Someone put up $100,000 after this hit piece was written to shill this hit piece.
What?
They put up a campaign. They said, we're going to give Influenceable $100,000. That's the pot. That's the pot money.
Yeah.
And influencers will be paid to tweet out the link to this article and put out the hashtag #FedFuentes.
Wow.
Yep. So I put these guys on blast. I go out and say, what's going on? You got Max Blumenthal working with Tucker to do a hit piece on me. It's in this weird publication. Then there's this $100,000 bounty going out on, they're putting money out there, serious money to smear me.
What the fuck?
I go, what's going on? So I put this all over Telegram, and then it disappears. All of a sudden, the campaign disappears. And that the brother of the CEO of Influenceable calls me and says, hey, man, could you take that down? Could you take that down? We don't, you know, everyone's getting attacked over here at Influenceable. Could you stop attacking us? Could you stop calling us out?
Wow.
Yeah. Says, we want peace. We don't want you to attack us anymore. The one guy that tweeted the link out, his name is Ben Geller, something like that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know? New York Jew.
Oh,
and you know what else?
what?
He's involved in allegedly some pretty sick shit, because I know people in New York, and he's in the DMs of a lot of teenage boys in the conservative movement on Instagram.
Shit.
Yeah, go figure. So, like, that's a bitch. You know, it's amazing. Like, here I am. I'm a guy that like does a show. I talk about this stuff. We.
How is that shit news? They're getting busted many times a day for the last, I don't know, couple of centuries. They still, when they talk about this, is like, it's a given.
People say I make a lot of sense on these issues, or even if we disagree, say, okay, you see where I'm coming from. But I get involved in these situations where it's like this French guy's giving me money and killing himself, and then the DOJ comes after me. Okay, pay a lawyer $100,000, get that solved. Then they're writing hit pieces about me, unravel that, and Tucker's behind it with Max Blumenthal. They're putting up $100,000 to get people to promote it. People take the bait, push the hashtag. He's in the DMs of like these guys at high school that I know and Instagram, and it's like, so, I mean, this shit goes deep.
Yo.
And there's layers. It's like I started it out. It's layers. I mean, first they come at you on Twitter, and then if you don't stop, eventually they just keep ratcheting it up until you get to convoluted stuff like this.
Damn. Wow, man. Bro, there's a targeted attack. I mean, bro, we said it. You're like the most canceled guy, and I'm not surprised at all these fucking powers that be. I'm just really disappointed. Like, Tucker Carlson, man.
The campaign.
White privilege denied. And especially the last like 5 years, like this is all you hear. This is all you hear, like, oh my God. It's like they're trying to make it like, oh my God, we got robbed. And after they create a whole world of starvation and poverty, scarcity, fictitious scarcity, because there's no such thing.
To use. Well, considering the time it takes to set up for the execution, clean the body and clean the chamber after the execution so it is then safe to use, this time is approximately 2 hours, which would mean that our maximum usage, assuming we could actually run the system 24 hours a day, would give us approximately 12 persons.
What would happen if we were to pack people shoulder to shoulder?
But they got white privilege. They got white privilege. You got to take in consideration. I don't know. They probably had slaves doing that in record time, in 5 seconds, right?
This gas chamber and try to mass gassing. Would the people not suffocate instead of being gassed?
Yes, the gas would not circulate, the people would suffocate. We would be unable to remove the gas or the air inside due to the fact that these many persons would be blocking the intake vents. And those people that are operating the chamber would die immediately upon opening the door to the chamber.
You were clearly inspecting the so-called gas chambers that the Germans used in the Third Reich and also taking samples from them for chemical analysis.
Yeah, that was like, they say they found like hundreds of baby oil bottles at Diti's mansions, and they had this paralyzing or something, drugging, or whatever. So anybody, I mean, and who was immune to that? Who was immune to that? Everybody will end up, just falling asleep, whatever. I mean, it's so much stupid shit with no common sense, and you go like, all these baby oil and the penis was immune. And that's what they're saying.
So what conclusion did you come to?
I determined that none of these chambers could have supported an execution facility for human beings. In fact, they were not used for that purpose.
Good morning. My name is Fred Leuchter. I'm an engineer from Boston in the United States. And I'm here this snowy morning here at Auschwitz, Poland. The date is February 28th. It's approximately 10:30 a.m. And I'm here to examine this alleged gas chamber and bring that evidence before the Canadian court. Questions relative to the use of the structure.
Some people feel Mary Chilton. Other people feel that it was simply a morgue. And then there are those that feel the structure functioned as a gas chamber. Going to be gas. This is Fred Leuchter again. I'm standing in the experimental gas chamber area at Majdanek at Lublin. I'm going to give a recap of everything I've seen here on my trip to Poland. The first location that we stopped at was Auschwitz I. In an examination of the gas chamber facility there, it is in my best engineering opinion that the facility was not ever used as a gas chamber for extermination of people or vermin. We move along to Auschwitz II, And I examined several locations at Auschwitz II. It is my opinion also that the areas at Auschwitz II were not used for purposes of exterminating people, but were simply used for delousing. We looked at a delousing facility, and it's a facility that all seem to agree were used for delousing purposes. In that facility, we saw blue dye stained into the walls, which we believe to be the remnants of the Zyklon B gas. Those materials will be taken back to the United States for chemical analysis. A look at the other gas chamber facilities indicated the presence of no such stain in any of the gas chamber facilities where the crematoria were located. We move along to Majdanek, and I've looked at all of the facilities here. There is one rebuilt gas chamber, which does not appear to be capable of having been used for even the extermination of vermin. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here at Majdanek, and I hope everyone will excuse the interruption, but we were asked to leave the premises by the guard who was closing the facility. I was in the process of explaining what I thought had taken place up at the new rebuilt gas chamber facility with the crematory, a short distance from the location. In the background, you see the experimental station that I was standing in earlier. The rebuilt gas chamber and crematory does not appear to have been used for extermination either of human beings or of vermin. Now we'll discuss briefly the experimental gas chamber that you see behind me. This gas chamber is unique. There are 2 rooms, or 2 separate chambers. One was apparently used for carbon monoxide, and one was used for Zyklon B. The uniqueness of the facility sets it apart from all of the others. The doors are gasketed, and there were apparently heated air returns, which pump the air from the chamber through a heater back into the room. This would seem to indicate that the Germans were trying to develop a more rapid procedure for delousing clothing, blankets, etc. Up until this time, the delousing normally took place over a 2 to 3 day period, where they would spend 1 day with the gas in the room. They would spend another day or 2 airing the room out. Most of the areas that they used had few windows or doors because they didn't want the gas to leak out and hurt anyone outside the facility. And it generally took longer to eliminate the gas at the delousing facility than it would if you normally exterminated a building. And what it appears was being developed here is not an extermination capability for people, because the gas chambers are much too small, and it would really not be feasible to build a gas chamber large enough to gas 100 or more people. The facility that we have here seems to be simply a large version of the Dagesh delousing chamber, which is made of metal and had an air pumping system which pumped hot air from the chamber through the heater back into the chamber to accelerate the hydrogen cyanide gas gases evaporation from the pellets into the air and the circulation throughout the room. So the facility we see behind us, there's no reason for this facility to be assumed to have been an extermination center. This was simply a new development in testing standard conventional delousing procedures in an attempt to speed them up and make them safer.
I don't know about that.
By doing the
don't people throw up if they're being gas poisoned? I don't know. Then we gotta clean all the puke. So here's another white, which I don't see nothing white, but okay. And this is the analysis. This is supposed to be an analyzing migration, and she got the nerve to say it's like, well, it was the same thing, you know. The whites was fleeing, and that's why they came over here to the Americas, and as if it was the same. You know, I mean, unless you are stupid, I mean, or blind, or, you know, I don't know, how can you not see the whites through their corporations, transnational corporations that go all over the world? I mean, not with lawyers, with entire law firms at their disposal, and especially Latino America. You know, they come, they change their name, they mutate, they change their logo. You know, we had in Mexico, we had Mexico, like from the itty bitty tiny Iberic Peninsula. Two corporations in particular, Repsol and Iberdrola. They was even selling us gasoline, our own gasoline. You know, they got the lobbyists 24/7 in Congress, in the Senate to pass the laws, so they can, you know, be just running amok in Mexico. They was even selling our own gas to Peru. I mean, it was crazy. Or how was it like? I don't know. They was taking our gas to Peru, and they have all these insane. I mean, as somebody, I just cannot believe there's not at least 10 books about it. The scam. They come and lease our land. You know, they lease. You know, get concessions for like whatever. You know, last administration we found out it was hundreds of thousands of concessions given to the whites, literally given, not given anything in return. And it was like, you know, the first day it was like, you know, we was like, what the fuck? And like, no, they wasn't doing nothing because they're so miserable. They don't want us to, you know, to boost our economy or whatever. So they don't do nothing. They just get the concession. And they're like, why? Why they have hundreds of thousands? And it's like, oh, you ever heard about Wall Street? Yeah, they're trading ghost corporations. They're trading ghost everything. Just basically, you know, I'm white and I say so. I'm white and I say so. And that was it. And that was it. You know, so... And she got the nerve to say, like, you know, why are they asking us to go back to Europe? Are you serious? Are you serious? It's like, you know, poisoning the water, poisoning the air, poisoning the food, poisoning everything. You know, you are performing, you know, a holistic genocide. Mass ethnic cleansing. Not to mention that you are financing. I mean, everybody will financing, right? Because they steal all the money from Latin America, you know, through exploitation and you know, crazy treaties that you know don't make sense because we have to sign the treaties in English. Malcolm X, the Honorable Malcolm X, he said, is the language of liars, the language of deceivers. So, but here we go again, 400 years later, still making treaties with the whites in their language. And they're the ones can decide, it's like, oh no, this word, you know, this word have 10 meanings. And in this case, that shit meaning that we're gonna fuck you up. And the countries, they go like, I mean, in Africa, you know, nations that supposedly in the 60s, they're all about my age. I'm 60 years old. They're all between 60 and 70 years old. Supposedly, since they became independent. Just like the way they abolished slavery. They abolished slavery and and it was way worse. There's a lot of African master teachers that say, you know, like, shit, you know, Jim Crow and the mass incarceration, you know, the chain gang, the chain gang, there was all just chain and outsourced, rented, as, like horses and, just to perform these, the most hideous acts that Tartaria refused to address. And then, like, look at all this greatness and look at all these, like, whatever, like, well, we never seen you work, honky. We never seen you work. You always have, our people working the fields. You have African Americans, doing your dirty work, especially African American women, working at Target and working at all these corporations with this nasty attitude, like, and they are, dynamiting. They are, imploding the marketplace just because they lost. And that's who the whites are. Every time they lose, they go like, like they're playing chess and they are cornered, they're gone, and they go like, they knock off the table and like, no, I didn't. Actually, this same account, he posted a video about, like, I forgot the name of the movie. It's like Godfather, and this gangster is talking to this other gangster and telling you, like, you're black, right? Sicilians are Africans, like, whatever. And they're like, and the other guy is like, they break out hysterical laughter and like, whatever. But, the other guy was like, okay, I heard enough, and just like, unload the whole gun on him. That's the same MO, the same modus operandi, and this thing is supposed to be white. I mean, like, where, in what universe? Look at her, what she said.
Wild how if you're of European descent, you can inherit the sins of your great-great-great-grandfather, but not the civilization. I feel like if immigrants are coming here to enrich us with diversity that we so desperately needed, then wouldn't that be the same for the European settlers that came to America? Maybe they were just asylum-seeking refugees?
Yeah, right. As if the whites are not going country by country by country, setting our homes on fire. And when we come out running, escaping from the fire, you're an invader. I mean, Malcolm X said it, psychopaths. Then science proved it. That the people who got trapped in the last ice age, which they say was a mini ice age or whatever it was, I don't know. Now we see so many maps that don't even make sense. We have like 500-year-old maps, posting, the Sahara Desert as a rainforest because they don't want to say jungle no more. They manipulate the language, so they can destroy Mother Earth. So she actually compared that. I mean, the case of the whites is, like, it's called like feudalism, thuggery, barbarism, because there are Berbers. There was at one time it was called Berbers or whatever, Arabs, and that's not to say that was the original race. The original races are always black. They're always like this color, and they infiltrate. They do the white boy magic to make everybody's skin pale. I come back home and I look at like, what the fuck just happened? For real. I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's still always gonna be a smoking gun. I mean, when you see people, like big booty, big lips, big like whatever. We all know that's part of the African or the Africoid genotype, right? Because everything is based on the phenotype. Because that's just how they are. It's like their superficiality. They're the ones that invented pop culture. That's a smoking gun. Why pop culture? Because it pops. It pops, and if you don't pop, you don't exist. And they're gonna say, especially like the Jewish, they're gonna go like, it popped the motherfucking nose. That's pop culture, I guess. Like, it's just not surprising, no nothing, because like I say, they're psychopaths. They're psychopaths. You see them right now. I mean, all moist just because of the promises. Just like the same promises that Hitler made to them, that they was gonna have the whole world, that there was never, they're gonna bring segregation, or if not segregation, for some reason right now, it's like, I guess that they are not able to survive segregated, but to be in control. To be in control. Hitler promised, no more brownies, no more blackies, no more like whatever you won't have to see that, because they call us, an eyesore. The people who got no lip, who look exactly like the Planet of the Apes with no ass, no like, it's always the one calling other people monkeys. You ever notice that? The ones with the dog DNA, which I don't know how they got dog DNA, Neanderthal, that's what they are, dog people. And they're supposed to be now, I got to see it within a couple of years. Once I started like, hey, you guys are Neanderthals. And they got so offended that they started removing the old videos of the Neanderthals as accurate, the accurate videos, the Neanderthals, being savages, all kinds of disgusting shit, and they started uploading content that praised the Neanderthals, calling them like, culture, whatever, that they did everything, that they are like, the Neanderthals. And now they think they even got like Neanderthal pride and everything, but it's just like, I was gonna say people, but they ain't people. They just cannot handle the truth. They cannot handle the truth. I mean, like, it's interesting, how that line, went viral. It's a movie, I don't know. And it just like till this day, you cannot handle the truth. And that is the truth, you're bastards. We're all bastards, thanks to you. We're the mulatto races, and it's just divide and conquer. Divide and conquer, because, coffee is always going to be coffee. You can put half and half, you can put vanilla, cinnamon, whatever, coffee. Still coffee. Lots of milk, lots of cream, lots of whatever, still coffee. Because it don't matter. I mean, it do matter, because like, you cannot go in under the sun. You cannot take the sun. That is exactly, if you ever wasted your time reading the Vampire Chronicles from Anne Rice, that's all it is. How miserable they are, but they cannot stop it because they are a virus. I've been talking for years about this poem that I did not save. And I look for it every now and then, and it's nowhere to be found. But it's just like, it's just talking about the whites and make all these parallels to a virus. It's only focused on surviving. Everything religion. This was my calendar that I got for this year. And I went like, you think this thing with that yellow hair is really going to protect me? It's gonna guard me? It's gonna be my guardian angel? For real? And if you look at all their manuals, every manual they have written, Aleister Crowley wrote extensively about, how they should behave. Because, these are incubator babies, Cabbage Patch Kids. Kid mean like baby goat, a baby goat, meaning it's, the whites call each other kids because, they're like little devils, supposedly, little baby devils, baby demons. And that's why the word kids. So who else? Everybody wrote about it. Hitler wrote about it, how to behave, how to talk, how to speak, how to whatever. Ever since I don't know, I noticed 15 years ago, they all had a mandate, or I don't know what it was, that they all have to be extremely civil to everybody, especially to each other. I mean, if you watch, I don't care what channel, it's they gotta be polite. I mean, it's nothing new because, remember, they created the dandy and the dame, in the itty bitty tiny European peninsula. Or was it in the Britain? I think it was there. And became obsessed with it. Why was they obsessed with protocol? Manners, you're drinking your motherfucking cup of tea, you gotta lift it up, because they had to, that was like a heads up, that was a warning. Anybody who was not following the protocol, the manners, the manuals, we used to have one over here, written by somebody named Carreño, right? And all the etiquette, dinner etiquette, everything, every kind of occasion. Why would they do something like that? Because, I mean, once again, Neanderthals gotta be, rail in. They have to be and that's where you find millions and millions of books and essays on psychiatry and everything. I mean, Freud I was not talking about nobody else, but the whites, the pales, or whatever. And he was puzzled. It's wow, why this happening? Why, white on white crime is always all-time high, and they hide it. They hide it. If you was to look at the statistics, I've seen them published, many times, and it's beyond disturbing. White on white crime. That's why they had to come out and say oh, no, that's friendly fire. Just casualties. It's it's a given. What they used to call Marilyn Monroe, a bombshell. Everything they talk, everything about their language is violence. It's no matter what, love, they got love bites. You got love bites. Whatever. Everything, you don't need to be a psychiatrist to see it everywhere. everywhere, and that is just their mantra. I mean, you got people like this, which I don't think she came out with this theory because she looked like, I don't even think she can tie her sneakers. I mean, like, for real. But she's saying, like, we just, I mean, why are we singled out? As if the whites did not arrive over here, I mean, look at the movie, like Braveheart, like I said, Braveheart or whatever. I never seen it, but I hear, especially the last 10 years, I hear like the whites, they're just talking about it. They're obsessed with it. They're like, like there's a movie, there's a book, it's called the Three Americas, or the two, I don't know, four, I don't know how many there are. So they in that book, they call the Scottish, the ones that did the bulwark. I don't know what the damn bulwark, it sounds like, but they all had their own mission. And I mean, it's be stupid to think like, oh my God, all them whites, they was, set on, frontal extermination, like, what would be like baiting the original peoples in this land, only to be like with like a barrage of bullets that, we never got interested in that. We know, like China, they knew gunpowder for thousands of years. They never decide like, hey, let's kill people with that. Never, nothing. And it's something that just come natural to the whites. Because that's just their nature. I mean, like, and the only one doing the killing is other whites. It's white versus white. White versus white. That's why you see they have like more guns and, the Second Amendment. Anybody, you touch the Second Amendment, I mean, like, how many millions of videos they have on the Second Amendment? And how many, like, they go, hey, you touch me, whatever, don't fuck with Texas, whatever, guns, all kinds of violent shit. It's not for us. It's for each other, for other whites. They know each other. That's the only thing that got me like a little bit scared when I got to see some whites that they was wearing like 5 Max, and they had like all these, I don't know, and they started doing these weird inventions, bubbles and like whatever, like, because they know each other. For a little while it was like, because, there's no honor amongst thieves, and they just go and do what they do. They make a treaty and like, oh yeah, we'll get rid of those white slackers, which there's like all these channels that they just do that a lot. There's in New York City, there's one Dr. Paul Cottrell, and it's like, he's supposed to be Jewish, or whatever. He got a big nose anyway, and like, he's always like disgusted by, like, oh my God, it's only them. And the other ones, the liberals, like, whatever, doing the same. And that's just the way the white boy magic work. They have to have this dichotomy. They always have to have, like, otherwise there's not. They're based on, the mystery schools, basic, like, negative and positive, and, you get like shock. You get electroshock, I haven't heard the whole thing. I'm gonna play just a little more about these theories. Just the same thing. You know, I mean, she's saying like, no. You know, the whites didn't come over here poisoning everybody and giving chicken smallpox blankets, poisoning our food and our water, specifically our water. Oh, that's not the way they arrived over here. And because she's saying it's the same thing. You know, like I say, what she said is the same thing, is setting our homes on fire, and as we try to escape the fire, we are called illegals in our own land. In our own land. As, you know, they always claim, you know, like where I used to live over there on Dykeman, there's Inwood Hill Park, and they got this rock over there. They say, this is where the purchase took over of the island of Manhattan. I mean, like, sure. If you go everywhere you go in the world, everybody like, no, the Indians, they just literally bend over. You know, they spread their legs. It's like, the Indians is like, yeah, right.
Spreading diversity and inclusion to a new continent. And I just think if America...
Spreading diversity and inclusion to a whole continent. I like...
isn't anything real or specific to begin with, then why can't we bring America to them? What's stopping us from recolonizing? Because if y'all are just here to exploit the infrastructure, then why shouldn't we just come to your country and start building again? Just like the good old days. If you're telling me to go back to Europe, I'm kind of hearing a revival of the British Empire is what you want? Because I know how much y'all love that British Empire.
Look at her body. I don't know what the fuck this is. Like a stick. No breasts, no nothing, because they are demonic entities. I like when she lift her arms up, you go like, it's this stick, no curves, no nothing.
And by the way, I can't just go back to Europe because this is happening to every single European country at the exact same time.
Oh my God. Oh, I see white tears. I'll be like, and why is it happening? Remember the 100-Year War? Why was that? Bullshit, but it was making money.
The minority in the West has a country where they would be the majority. And white people of European descent are already the global minority. We're anywhere from 7 to 9% of the population, yet we're
already always been like that. Who's ever said, oh my God, let me audit the census. Let me audit the census. And if we audit the census, the white's gonna disappear. The white's gonna disappear because being pale, you know, I mean, I didn't make this shit up. I did not make this shit up. And like, you know, anybody who like being super pale with yellow hair, whatever, the demonic eyes, everything, and they have sometimes their entire lifetime being persecuted for not being white, just like in Eastern and in the East, like the Federation. You know, all these, I mean, except miraculously, the ones that they get some white card are the ones from Ukraine and Poland. All the ones that the friendly nations to the West. Those are, but not really. I mean, like, look at the so-called president of Argentina. That shit is like this color. I mean, the eyes look like totally satanic, is like, and he got booed. They booed him in La Scala in Milan, Italy. He got booed. He was like, boo, 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 like, and people were like, what the fuck? That's a crack up. Like, no, they do not consider him a white because he was not born in the itty bitty tiny European peninsula. So it's a Creole. That is a Creole. And that was, one of the favorite ways of weaponizing race from the beginning. You can read the book, The Black Jacobins, which is the history of the first, invasion, in Haiti. They call it Haiti because they hate it. That's what they call it, Haiti. 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 The flower of the highlights. And it's always like this. It gets so damn boring, but there's still, idiots that somehow they believe she's making even a little bit of sense. It's like, oh yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I go to your home, break the door, uninvited, steal everything, rape all the women and men too, because you're faggots. And it's the same thing. It is the same thing. It's not the same thing because the whites brought in their perversities to the Anahuac. It was no homosexuality. But guess what happened? And this is all written in the correspondence to the itty bitty tiny Iberic Peninsula. They corresponded because they was getting so much heat because it was so hideous. It was talking about mass orgies of all kinds. Kind of like adrenochrome, all that shit. So they started pressuring, the Vatican, and this shit's gonna be a backlash. So the Pope came out and say, oh no, you cannot do that. Unless they sodomites. And boom, you can see the correspondence and everything, all the writings of in the Anahuac done by the invaders, the parasites. They all started putting oh my God, these Indians, they're fucking each other, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's there. It is like they have to justify. Yeah, well, it's like, okay, 3/5 of a human being. When the pressure came out about and when there was books and everything, it's like they're not humans. They're like 3/4. It's the exact same thing, but except we're talking about science and solid data, solid facts about the Neanderthals. You see how they're accusing that? It's just the same thing that Victoria Nuland, said after they started, pumping up NATO even further. She said it's like, oh, it's a Russian. It's a classic Russian technique, accusing others of what they're doing. Once they became exposed with their biolabs in Ukraine, all kinds of pedo, satanic shit in Ukraine or whatever, it's like, that's what Victoria Nuland said. And by the way, nobody noticed how she used to look like 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. And now, after that, actually it was on that February 24th, when finally the Federation said it's like enough with this Nazi shit, and they started the denazification, which I support 1,000% of Ukraine. Even Madonna, she used to have a girlfriend that she was eating up. and her name was Mary Paul. Not Mariupol, Mary Paul, and I noticed that the friend, it was satanic. It was a satanic girlfriend. She had all these tattoos, and I don't know if tattoos or I don't know, whatever, but I thought it was like, I mean, we're talking about 1985, 86, you know, when they say, oh, what about your fashion or whatever? Oh, I like whatever. Look at this. I have a girlfriend. Her name is Mary Paul. And I didn't know there was a city named Mariupol and that it was infested. It was a cesspool of pedophiles and all kinds of shit, you know. And I mean, this is why, you know, you see the same fervor, the same passion. You see the supposedly right wings, you know, the Trumpets. You see them because they are one and the same. They're one and the same. They have the, okay, let's call it dirty laundry. And, you know, that's, you know, each one, you know, Biden, you know, you can say he betrayed his base, but he didn't. He didn't. It was all an agreement, all these busts, all these breaking, enterings, you know, all these like whatever. It was a simulation. It's a simulation. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, you know, but Biden, he knew, or they had a pact that it was, you know, they was going to weaponize the idea of drying the swamp. And he's saying, no, I'm the one who I drying this one. I gotta go now. Let's just listen to the whole theory.
Only group mass immigration has been forced upon. Because what you're advocating for is not even an expansion of equality or even equity for that matter. You're arguing for a double standard that because of my skin tone, I deserve to be dispossessed out of my homeland. Only feeble-minded, groupthink, anti-whiteness.
No, honey, that was because of your skin tone, which there's no skin tone. What skin tone is in this shit? Can you tell me what skin tone is in this shit? There's no skin. It's the lack of tone. You're tone deaf, tone blind. And that is still, to this day, it is the membership card into this exclusive elite. You know, that you gotta have this whiteness, and you gotta talk like that. You gotta talk like whatever you see. Like, they got all these migrants watching that sitcoms, you know, Friends, a million times, because supposedly they want to learn to be white. You know, they go like, wow. And I met people like that. Oh yeah, it's just like, and people said it. I was at Mount Sinai's outpatient treatment for, I don't know, what is the diagnostic? Anyway, I just wanted to get to the bottom of like, you know, why I am the way I am, blah, 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 you know, supposedly. And I did 13 months over there, and it was rough, you know, and there was, you know, people from many parts of the world, and they talk about, you know, how they lost their identity, how they used to be obsessed with being white and blah, blah, blah. And they used to watch that sitcom and other sitcoms, you know, to program themselves to get that accent, which, I mean, nobody can do that accent because, you know, you have to be like a survivor. I say in quotations because they don't survive. You know, they're walking dead. So, you know, this is why they have like, their nose became like that. They could not have a broad, you know, nose because I'm talking about minus 60 degrees every day. So they couldn't waste no energy at speaking. They would, a lot of whites, they just speak and they're not moving their lips. Curse you out, like they don't move their lips. Because, I mean, we're talking about facts, evidence. Any white, ever question themselves, why they are, how they are, why they have their nose is like, I got this surgery, because they took my apartment in New York City. In order for me to get Medicaid, I had to give them my 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan that I bought with my money. So, and it was that era that, or whatever. I don't know. The thing is that one day I saw him without the mask. I don't know if he noticed. I was like shocked. It was just like this. Like this. It was like so narrow. It was like, I was like, how does he breathe? I don't know. It's a mystery. How the whites breathe with no nose. I mean, that was huge, but it's so narrow. I mean, it's huge sometimes, so. Anyway, it's just like, false equivalencies. That's what you do. That's what they always do. Oh, it's equivalent to this. It's like, how? How is this shit equivalent? You have intergenerational wealth. Even when you're a refugee, you have platinum cards. You got, trust funds. You got real estate galore. I mean, like, bitch.
Studies majors think it has anything to do with colonization at this point. It's a lie. Plus, mass immigration is being forced on European countries that never colonized, never had slaves, and never had an empire, such as Ireland. Simultaneously, mass migration is not being...
Okay, what she just said. Anybody? Friendly fire. Friendly fire. You see how many times they've done that? Forced immigrants into African countries, into Latin Americans. We just had a whole bunch of Arabs. I don't know if you saw that. Even the so-called president of Brazil, he went to the airport, he went to the whatever, call it tarmac, whatever, to greet his people. It was tons. So beach, please, spare me your bullshit. We're being forced to receive immigrants. No, nobody's forcing you, bitch. Nobody's forcing you. You're starving. You're starving. And there's a lot of money. Why shouldn't she don't talk about the money when the whites receive refugees and migrants, or especially refugees, when they give it. I mean, that's how Turkey was built back better, right? Talk to, Turkey. They have not even given them, nothing. They got no papers. They received all these refugees. I forgot what the name of the place they was coming from, whatever. And he kept all the money. And he built Turkey. And now we have another problem with the new Ottoman Empire. Again, I mean, shit just got dismantled. What was that, like 100 years, whatever? And now, like, there are a bunch of traitors. You see how they like, oh no, I don't see what's happening in Syria, but I want a slice of that. Erdogan.
Forced on other countries that did have empires, such as Japan, Turkey, Mongolia, or any of the Middle Eastern states. Also, more people have come to Britain in the last 50 years than in the entire 5,000 years prior. And come to think of it...
Okay, so she is British, or she's implying that Britain is a white country, which it never been. Never been. But as the optics, talking about optics.
All places where white people have been the minority, how'd it work out for them? Because we could look at South Africa, Asia, French Algeria, Haiti, because decolonization is just...
And let's talk about Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes and how the whore of Babylon, Queen Victoria gave him all the seals, the royal seals, to just make up, just like they do in Wall Street, all these institutions. And, through that institutions, they just buy in all the land in the name of the Queen. And, having Africans enslaved for a glass of water because you crackers poisoned all the water and got the original man working for you for free just for a pitcher of water to build the train from Azania all across the African continent. It was like express, that shit, ransacking everything throughout the continent, putting it in trains and getting it out of Africa. I don't know, but if karma exists, shit have not even begun. So.
Code for ethnic cleansing, but make it woke. It's when you get rid of white people, but keep everything they built on the land for yourself. Because these people fled from their own countries because they didn't like the standard of living there, but they think that standard of living should be forced upon all of us in our countries. In fact, they think these countries don't even belong to us because our government has done
It's not, so it is not, I don't want you to believe, it's not because of the hundreds of thousands of NGOs. It's not because of their U.S. aid. How many people they think U.S. aid was, a song, from the 1980s. We are the world. U.S. aid is, Hitler is a saint compared to the NGOs, non-government organizations. And anyway, it's the same, we've been saying it a million times, and these crackers, they've been saying it like a million times too, because they're psychopaths. Any human being will be like, but they're proud of what they did. They're proud of what they did, and then they're like pretending they didn't do it.
Amazing job through media, institutions, and education of creating an environment of anti-whiteness. No racism is tolerated except for racism against white people. This is good and acceptable according to U.S. officials. Because at the end of...
How can it be racism against white people when the white people own everything? All the media, all the corporations. So what she's talking about is friendly fire. She's talking about white on white crime using, like they say, using brownies and blackies and yellows, weaponizing. It's you. It is you who's weaponizing shit because, that's what you do every time. Every time you get cornered, you dynamite the whole place. And that, I don't know, it sounds like to me more like there is a beef amongst the whites and, automatically they become, kamikazes. They're kamikazes and they don't give a fuck and like whatever. And some of the whites, they pretend that they don't know what's happening.
Today, America was always meant to be a place where people of all backgrounds could get together, throw away their differences, and hate on white people together. And it's so...
No. It's more like a marketplace where the whites can fulfill their every whim, their every perversity, right? Because, it's not blatant slavery like before that the whites, it was just, roaming around and, I like that child, and they take it. That's what it was. And that's the same way it was over here. There's movies about it. How the whites and the Creoles and just like, You know, sometimes they would just send somebody. You know, the slave master wants your child or wants your husband, and he better be there tonight. That is who the whites are. And this was for hundreds of years, because, you know, they're psychopaths. You know, that's why the whole world is fucked up, because nobody knew. Nobody knew. My people, they still like, you know, how can somebody own land? The land is nobody's. The land is the land's. And I mean, they tell you those things. How can anybody own the water? The water is, you know, the Pachamamas. Nobody can own it, like, because we don't even have that. Only a psychopath will weaponize land and water in order to create slavery. Oh my God, this thing is popping up.
Inclusive that even fellow whites can join in on the hate. And if they don't, we'll just accuse them of being racist. So I've decided I just don't care what false labels people put on me, because, yeah, I just don't care. And throw your biases to this.
So then why are you making a 3-minute and 52-second video for if you don't care, Becky? I mean, alleged Becky, because I don't see no white ever. I see this Chinese bitch. That's all I see.
And for a second, just think about this completely detached from your own experience. Because it really doesn't make any sense for only and all white majority countries, the biggest threat to them being too many white people. Because it's a threat to who exactly? So how does that make sense? If we're controlling our governments and we're controlling the world, that is the one group of people you're allowed and encouraged to discriminate against, and that are not allowed to have equal representation if every single...
Okay, how? How? Whoever deny you of a job, you own all the corporations. You own all the land. Just Ted Turner. You know, remember the founder of CNN? He's bragging he can drive through the entire United States, the 50 states. I don't know if the 50 states, I don't know, maybe, yeah. On his own land. He say that's his own land. And Jeff Bezos is doing the same, and Gates and Elon and everything, that they're emulating that, because that is like the status. You know, the new rich is new money. They never had nothing. They come just like the Arabs. You know, there's over there sand, over there is always cold and barren, and they come to our lands and they go like, all we gotta do is just reach out and we get fruits, we get all kinds of nutritious things, and they can grow shit, you know, selling wine and whatnot, and claiming that they're producing everything. You know, I've seen products that there was nothing to do with anywhere in that tiny peninsula, but they put it, made in whatever. Just like they do, well, over here, they don't do it no more. They say, assembled in the United States. They don't put the country who made it, the people who made that product. They say, assemble all packed. You know, packed in the United States. Like,
their group of people has a homeland and a government representing them. Why do you think we're in control of the government? Why do you blame us for the government's actions? The more you think about it, the more absurd it is. We are allowed to have our own countries just like everybody else.
Here.
yes, oh my God, I agree with that. One country, bitch, one country of that. She defeated her own argument. So then why are you all over the world? You know how many Neanderthal illegals we have right here? Tons. And, you know, fuck around and find out. You know, like you guys say, fuck around and you find out. You have a trail of tears all the way to the caves in Northern Europe. Oops.